If you were a kid in Australia during the early 2010s, there's a good chance you didn't just watch ABC3, you lived it. It was your go-to after school, your comfort on sick days, and your weekend chaos machine. You knew the shows, you knew the hosts, and you knew that 4:30 p.m. was sacred. From Total Drama Island to Good Game Spawn Point, Prank Patrol, Dance Academy, Horrible Histories, Behind the News, and even those weird reruns of Round the Twist that scarred you in the best way possible, ABC3 was a core part of growing up Aussie. So where did it go? What happened to ABC3? Why did one of the most iconic children's channels in Australia disappear almost overnight? And what does that say about the rise and fall of kids' TV? Rewinding back to 2009, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation already had ABC Kids for younger children, but older kids and early teens had no space of their own. Disney Channel and Nickelodeon were dominating pay TV, but there was no free-to-air option that really got that 6 to 15 age group. Enter ABC3. ABC3 officially launched on December 4th, 2009 as a digital channel designed specifically for older children and teens. ABC3 felt alive, with real hosts, skits between shows, shoutouts, and constant interaction. It had personality, a pulse, and a kind of rough around the edges charm that made it feel like it was made by people who actually got what kids wanted to see. It was loud, messy, and unpredictable, and at the center were the presenters, Amberly Lobo, Kane Tremills, and James Elmer. Honestly, they felt less like TV hosts and more like the cool older sibling who somehow got their own show. They introduced shows, hosted games, reacted to viewer messages, and pulled pranks, all between episodes. It made the channel feel like it was happening with you, not at you. It turned a bunch of TV shows into a real-time experience. The lineup was stacked. You had Total Drama Island, a cartoon parody of reality TV that was somehow more dramatic than most actual reality shows. Good Game Spawn Point took gaming seriously, with hosts Barjo and Hex, plus the snarky robot Darren reviewing games, answering viewer mail, and treating young gamers like real players instead of clueless kids. Prank Patrol gave kids the chance to pull off elaborate stunts on their friends with the help of the iconic prank van and a team of ninjas. It was ridiculous and amazing. There were also the educational heavyweight Behind the News, which somehow made current affairs interesting even to a 12-year-old. It explained global events and local politics in plain English without dumbing anything down. You'd finish an episode and suddenly know what the GFC was or why the Murray-Darling Basin mattered. Australian dramas like Dance Academy, My Place, Bushwhacked, and Hardball were pretty iconic as well. These shows didn't try to copy American high school settings or LA gloss. They gave us Aussie accents, Aussie slang, and Aussie stories. It felt real, like TV that actually reflected the lives of the people watching it. ABC3 also didn't shy away from the strange. Remember Round the Twist? That show was technically made decades earlier, but its reruns on ABC3 introduced it to a whole new generation and traumatized plenty in the process. There were ghost stories, creepy toilets, haunted lighthouses. It was unhinged and unforgettable. The Tribe, another cult classic, gave us a post-apocalyptic world where no adults existed, only kids with face paint, fashion flair, and teen drama. There was nothing like it. But the real magic of ABC3 was the community. Everyone was watching the same thing at the same time. It wasn't fragmented, there weren't infinite choices. You couldn't just skip around the way you do on YouTube now. You planned your afternoon around it. You talked about it at school the next day. You submitted your fan art. You waited for your name to be read out by a host on live TV. ABC3 felt like a club, one that every kid in Australia had access to. And then, it all started to change. By the mid-2010s, YouTube had exploded. Kids weren't waiting for shows anymore. They were streaming whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. Tablets and smartphones were everywhere. Netflix launched in Australia in 2015 and changed the game. Suddenly, kids didn't need to turn on the TV at 4:30. They could binge an entire season of Adventure Time, or fall down a rabbit hole of Star Wars YouTubers, or watch prank videos that made Prank Patrol look tame. ABC started noticing the shift. Their internal data showed that kids were moving to mobile screens and on-demand platforms. The old fixed programming model was fading fast. So on September 19th, 2016, ABC made a big change. They rebranded ABC3 to ABC Me. The idea was to move with the audience. ABC Me came with a new app, on-demand viewing, and better parental controls. The name Me was supposed to reflect personalization, kids curating their own content rather than passively consuming whatever was on. It was an understandable move. ABC wanted to stay relevant. But even if it made sense on paper, something got lost in translation. ABC Me was polished, the content was still good, but the personality, the quirky, messy, host-driven energy of ABC3 had been stripped away. No more live hosts, no more skits between shows, no more interactive chaos. ABC Me became this quiet, streamlined platform. Efficient? Sure. But magical? Not really. However, the decline wasn't limited to ABC. Across the industry, traditional kids' television was entering a steep decline. Disney Channel Australia shut down in 2020. Nickelodeon started cutting back on live content. Cartoon Network laid off huge parts of its programming team. Kids weren't watching linear TV anymore. They were on YouTube, Netflix, TikTok, Twitch, and other similar platforms, watching influencers, short-form content, and algorithm-driven chaos that no traditional network could match. On top of that, ABC was dealing with years of funding cuts. Successive Australian governments slashed the broadcaster's budget, forcing it to cut staff, cancel programs, and pull back on production. Children's content, which isn't commercially profitable and doesn't drive ratings in the same way, often gets deprioritized. Even with the best intentions, it's hard to maintain the energy and output of something like ABC3 when the money just isn't there. To be clear, ABC Me hasn't failed. In fact, it's still producing incredible shows. Hardball won an international Emmy. Crazy Fun Park leaned into horror comedy and showed real creative risk. The platform is still creating good content. It's just not the same kind of experience we had growing up. So what happened to ABC3? It grew up, it rebranded, it adapted to survive in a digital world where kids no longer gather around a TV, but in the process, it lost that spark, the sense of fun, of community, of chaotic joy that made it so special. It became modern, but lost its magic. And for those of us who grew up with it, that still stings a little, because ABC3 was ours. It gave us a space that felt local, loud, and made with love. It introduced us to news, games, drama, weird cartoons, and a bunch of Aussie hosts who made us feel seen. That kind of connection is rare now. So, if you ever randomly start humming the Total Drama Island theme song, or hear Darren's robotic sass echoing in your head, or picture a prank van driving down your street, that's the ABC3 effect. It didn't disappear, it just became a memory. A weird, wonderful, very Aussie memory shared by a generation. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful. But what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and let's discuss. And if you enjoyed this story, give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss out on more deep dives like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.